Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Raptor Spiritus, and I am back with another one. So we have the monthly report that dropped, and we have some new skins for you guys for that Halloween ghoulish action. It's called the Day of the Vara. So I'm gonna quickly run through this, just kind of briefly going through it. I've tried this a few times to get through it, and honestly, I've tried to take this video like 8 times. I'm watching my son today because he's home on a teacher work day, so I can't get through it without him asking me questions constantly. So I'm just gonna try to go through this real quick. Okay, so let's get into that. So here we go. Day of the Vara is basically the lore is that I guess a ship and her captain went through some awful expanse void of life, and the ship disappeared. And so it's a great mystery behind it. So that's why it's all spooky and stuff, campfire stories and whatnot. So the paints that they have are called the Hellish Hues. I actually really dig these paints. I dig these paints, these new ones, because every year it's always some sort of green. And you know, while I love the ghoulish green when it came out, I'm ready for something different, honestly. You know, and I'm glad that they came out with a whole new string of paints for this event. So loving it. The orange, and there's like orange and black, but it's like almost like a orange and carbon gray type color, but they're really cool. On the MXs, I think it's dope. They said they have it for the Sabers and for the Polaris. So, and then this is a competition that you can do through Spectrums. Go to this link down here. Carver Pumpkin contest, basically what it is. And then Arena Commander, run around like a bunch of bag of bones, killing people. You probably win the same old helmet, like the Vandal helmets or something, possibly. Or actually, that might be this one. Dead Men Tell No Tales. It's a writing contest. Spooky stories about the Vara, how it disappeared. You know, you want to write it from the captain's perspective, the crew's, or the ship's. Make it super spooky. If you win, you probably win the Vandal head or something like that, a helmet, basic stuff. And then here we go, Day of the Vara, the Saber Raven paints, and this is the Guardian paints on the MX. Like I said, that orange color pops so much because it's so much more. You know, the MX has got it's bigger, more bulkier, got more armor, so the orange pronounces out a lot more on it. I love it. Game packs they have, let's see, it's just probably just a cutter. There we go. Yeah, it's just a cutter with the ghoulish green paint. And they have the Sulin with the purple haze paint, 24 months. This pack is actually pretty cool because it is Guardian, Polaris, Saber, and they come with lifetime insurance. Like that's, I mean, if you're paying $1,200 for 3 ships and some paints, I would hope it comes lifetime. Just saying. I think that's all for the pack. Oh, and then of course they got the purple haze package, and then of course the ghoulish green package. It's based about $1,000. Oh, but it comes with Buccaneer, Caterpillar, Corsair, Cutlass, Black, Cutter, Dragonfly, Black, Herald, Mule, and Vulture. Pretty much all the Drake ships, and they come in all the ghoulish greens, which that for $1,000, that's not bad. I mean, to get to concierge, you got to spend about that much anyways. But I mean, you can get all that in the ships for $1,000. And did it say if it came with lifetime? Did it say that? Let's check. Yeah, all comes with lifetime, so you can still get all these classic ships with the lifetime. That's actually pretty sweet. I know, like the Corsair alone is like 2 and some change. So I mean, that's actually, like I said, if you want to go all Drake, that's a pretty worth it packet. I wonder if the Purple Haze has lifetime. Purple Haze comes with Carrack, Terrapin, Sulin, both the Zeuses, and yep, become a lifetime as well. So if you're really trying to get a kickstart off on your fleet and you're willing to drop a little bit of money and you get the same kind of paints, these are your packets right here. These come with a pretty good amount of ships. Obviously, the capital ship and 2 fighters, which is super cool. I do believe that or all the Guardians will fit. And then the Carrack comes with 3 ships. It's a little more diverse, more things you can do with these 3. You can still do a lot of cargo, exploring with the Carrack. And then, of course, both the Zeus's are really cool ships. The Terrapin is a tank, basically. And it still one's a cool little starter run around ship. And then, of course, if you really want to just hit it a little heavy with a bunch of ships and a bunch of stuff, this, I think, has got the better value. And that's my opinion, honestly. For $10.75, that's a good packet. So there you go. And then here we have the full pack for just the paints for the new ones. And I have to pause because my son is calling me. All right, back again. Sorry. When you have a 5-year-old, it's like beckoning call. So moving on. So these are the ships, like I said, for the new Hellish Hues. But this one, again, the regular Guardian, it's okay. But the MX from the images we saw earlier, right here, looks super awesome. Let me see if we can see him in here. So that's for the, there it is. Look how that looks with the orange on it, like around. Look at that. It looks so much better than the regular Guardian. It looks so dope. So I don't know. I might get this one. This one's pretty cool. And then we have the Purple Haze, as we said earlier. So we've already seen these before. If you were a Play Star Citizen in the past, this was, I think, the last year's way they had it with all the Purple Haze, and then here are all the ghoulish greens. Of course, my favorite being that Corsair, because that's what ties my Emerald Duchess together. That is the name of my ship, CIG. I'm telling you, all we need right now is to be able to name our ship, so whenever people scan our ship, the name pops up, and we need suit lockers. I mean, I don't think I'm asking for a lot. I'm just saying, because the Corsairs, Carracks, they get ship names. Why can't we all do it? So I would love that. CIG, just can you make that work? So anywho, moving forward. So those are all the paints. Now we're going to move into the monthly report. So AI team is continuing to work on the landing zone NPCs. They're just trying to, I guess, get all that stuff straight, so it's a little bit more reliable, I guess you could say, that it's actually triggering every time and working pretty flawlessly. It says to make stations and cities feel more alive, the team leveraged the med station behavior used during the region crisis. Now shopkeepers will interact more with the people frequenting their store. The team is also looking at an underutilized aspect of the landing zone archetypes and are preparing a proposal to make a better use of guards. Now, with this being said, honestly, one thing I brought up in a previous video, when if you ever looked at Star Citizen from like 2012 or 2014, when it showed the constellation flying down to Area 18 and landing on a landing zone that was outside where you could see the city, and basically you had outside access to like the shopping area and everything like that. I think that's, I mean, I love the hangars, don't get me wrong. I think they obviously need to stay. They're important. However, if you look at it like Area 18, for instance, ArcCorp, it's basically like a dirty Coruscant from Star Wars. Landing pads everywhere. Anytime you've ever played Star Wars where they're going to Coruscant, there's landing pads everywhere. And you just land and, park your ship, pay your fee to keep your ship there, and you're good. That's the way, really, I think that Area 18 especially should be, and there's always at wherever these little places, all over that big spread of city, so you don't have to rely on just everybody trying to get to the same hangars in the spaceport. I think this is important, and I really hope that CIG really leverages this, because that scene, even though it's like from 2014 or whatever, 15, it's still, there's nothing like flying through the city buildings and then seeing a pad and landing on the pad, and then, you know, undoing your cargo, and then like your cargo can go to like, you know, whoever's unloading it. Because I remember one of the things that CIG was trying to do was have, you know, people or NPCs actually, if you have cargo, actually unload your ship. I understand there's a lot of logistics in trying to get NPCs to actually unload physical cargo, and I'm not like a crazy person. I know it's gonna take some doing, but still, just that aspect of landing in the city, in the open city, seeing the buildings, and, you know, just walking to a tram area where it'll take you to the main city area. I think that's so much cooler than everybody having to be stuck, you know, and going to a spaceport that's, you know, you have to run through all this stuff to get there and get out and get to the train to get to the city center. Like, I think they could do much better in that. Especially on those, they have those patches of city on the outskirts of Area 18. You know, you could leverage that. It's just a really long, like train ride from there to Area 18. So I think CIG could do a lot more to make the game a lot more fun, a lot more interactive. So there's a lot to leverage, but I like what they're doing when it comes to trying to use the landing zones to do more with the guards to make it more interactive. So in addition to the ongoing task of setting up comms call characters for missions, the devs also started looking at mission providers in general and built a new behavior to support face-to-face interactions in the future. That would be cool. So AI feature updated numerous features last month, beginning with AI weapon component, which will now remain in sync with weapon statuses, allowing them to work better in unison. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I would assume that means when the NPCs are using guns, they work like as if we have guns, like we're, you know, running out of ammo or overheating certain weapons, things like that. Support was then added to NPCs to systematically target vehicles in combat. Improvements were made to the rocketeer behavior, allowing NPCs to switch between using a rocket launcher and pistol depending on the situation. That's cool. You know, one of my arguments always makes fun of me because I'm always like, I would like a lot more out of NPCs. Like, this shouldn't be something I can do easily. I should be breaking a sweat, you know, when battling once you build up a certain reputation, hitting certain missions. Like, obviously you have the bottom missions where you're starting off with just getting your certification, and as you build up the higher ones, really the mission should be lots harder. And having NPCs that behave like that, which will walk around with a pistol, and they also have a rocket launcher, and depending on what the situation is, will decide, let me pull that rocket launcher out and bah, you know, like that's cool gameplay. That makes the gameplay a lot more interesting because it's more unpredictable. Another thing that I would hope they would do eventually was not making it so every time you go in a bunker or you go into a thing, the NPCs are always standing in the same place. That I think would also, because it creates a lot more unpredictability, so you can't anticipate everything. So it makes it, you know, basically it's effort all the time, you know, every time, no matter how many times you run a mission. So there's that. Let's see. Adjustments to the visuals of various behaviors were made, improving cover usage and fixing multiple asserts. So I like the fact I've seen them jump for cover before. I've seen them slide for cover, which is pretty cool. So I just love NPCs having a lot more unpredictable behavior than a lot of that linear stuff. Default behaviors were then introduced to the buddy AI, allowing NPCs to follow their leader and stay in close proximity during combat. TPS covers a long path. Was finalized based on feedback, while the ammo looting updates are underway too. This will affect uh, holstering and stowing primary weapons, and prevent NPCs from switching to their pistol when looting if they still have primary weapons open. And the fact that NPCs can loot for ammo, I think is super cool. Again, you're giving them more behaviors. Formerly mentioned in previous monthly reports as an upcoming creature, the new Urmandi now uses different fire modes in its attack. Issues with perception giving false positives were also fixed. Further improvements are currently underway for this and existing creatures. So we don't know what this thing is yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll tell you which one I'm actually looking forward to the most. Let me see if I can find I wish they had pictures. We already know what copians are. Like this one, like I want to see these on Microtech or any kind of cold planet with snow. That would be freaking awesome. And then of course, when we're looking at these, there was one particular you can see this one right here. That one looks pretty cool. I think that's maybe a Vandal. I don't know, I could be wrong. And then this. Things like this. This one. It was this one right here. Bam. I want to see this one in the verse. Like there all these creatures, like, man, these things are so cool. When they start having these to where they're dominating a lot of the planet's surface for a lot of these places, depending on the atmosphere, that's gonna be super cool. So I thought it was really nice. Let's see. The creatures. So in addition, new functionality was added for testing first reactions by generating test cell level variants, making rapid iterations and testing easier for each situation. This includes testing for first reactions and animation flows. So AI tech, improvements for NPCs using elevators by simplifying the setup of the transit carriage. So that's pretty neat. I mean, NPCs using elevators. So does that mean that if you go through an elevator and go to someplace that they can follow you? That'd be cool. I think that's cool. Let's see. Focus to unify the process flow with one used for ground requests and preemptive adaptation of the Pathfinder structure. This is all a bunch of technical stuff. I'm gonna skip this portion. You guys can go back and read it if you want to, or pause and read it. If whatever you let me get to where you can read it, because I know I'm in the way. So if you want to pause it right there, you can read everything about that particular area. Skipping AI, game intelligence development, fixing bugs and performance. Animation team continued to work on upcoming creature and boss fight alongside supporting a new mission giver. That's interesting. So there's gonna be a new mission giver, which is gonna be cool, and a boss for us to kill, like the Valakar one over at the Lazarus station, if I'm not mistaken. Also, facial animation progressed through new performances that were captured in late August. These include characters that will be present in multiple upcoming releases, including a returning air traffic control voice. That's cool. The animation, narrative, and mocap team also planned for their next shoot, which will be held at the beginning of October. That's cool. So they're trying to improve on the animations and stuff for faces and whatnot. So I'm with that. I actually would love to see my characters make a lot more facial expressions than just kind of kind of thing. Character art. The character art team finalized both new armors and a new gang. So both new armors, my assumption is that there is... So when you're looking at the Citizen Con packet, there were 2 unknown armors there. Someone said maybe the new heavy one that we saw earlier in one of my previous videos. It may be, I'm not too sure. But then they also said there's a new gang. Some said the new armors could be related to them. I think it's 2 separate things. So I'm curious to see what this new gang is. I think that all this is leading up to Nyx, so that's just me. Work also continued on polishing the Urmandi, so that creatures should be out soon. The concept art team continued iterating on new armors, which is great because, you know, number one, I'm going to tell you right now, I am tired of seeing the same armors constantly being used, such as the Artemix armor. CIG, stop. No more. It's done. Let it go. You know, new armors, yes. If you're going to make armors, let's make armors. Let's not keep killing the same stuff over and over again. Like, it's just not, it's not that cool anymore. You know, the Artemix armor before, if you wanted the original Hurston one, you had to take a common ray down and go to any bunker, and eventually you see them pop up, kill them, take their stuff, and bounce. Now, because they make distribution centers on Hurston, now they're there, and you'll just let them do some of that work, and eventually they'll get killed and die. So now you got instant armor there. You can get the Hurston one and the Calico one for sure. So they're there, but like all these remakes of the Artemix armor are just, it's not cool anymore. It's laziness is what that is. So let's try some new, let's get some new stuff in there. I'm looking forward to that new armor section. Now my favorite, because typically I'll tell you I'll skip over AI stuff all day long because, you know, it is what it is until then, but this is the stuff I live for. Well, the armor and the ships, obviously. In the UK, work continued to bring the RSI Aurora and Aegis Hammerhead up to modern standards. Aurora progressed through the Lot Zero and final stages as improvements were made to components bay, bed access, dashboard placement, entrance method, VTOL setup, and cargo access in the underside. So let me say this. I said it before in another video of mine, the Aurora really needed a complete rework because comparatively to the standard of RSI right now, it is not. I do know some of my org mates did say that it's a tribute to something from, I think, Wing Commander or something. I don't remember, but which I understand, but still, it needs a rework. It needs, in my opinion, needs to reflect more of what RSI is today, what the standard is for RSI. So that's just my opinion. So on the Hammerhead one, that's pretty cool that they're doing that to get it in line with the Aegis line. So I'm looking forward to that. For the Hammerhead, focused on implementing the improvements made to the base corridor kit. So they have all these kits for the ships now based off of the architecture for each manufacturer, which again will give that unity and unique characteristic for that manufacturer. So they're basically just trying to bring the Hammerhead up to standard for the Aegis packets like you would see in the Idris and so forth. So we have this picture, which I don't know what this is. Maybe, I mean, in my mind, I wanted to say it was maybe the something from the the Ironclad, because I see this little gate situation here, and I know in the Ironclad they have like a security room type thing. So I was thinking maybe something from that, because it looks pretty raw, like just straight bulkhead metal. Like, doesn't look like anything super fancy. You know, these little lights on the wall back here, you know, like I said, it looks very basic, which is Drake style all the way. But I don't know what this is. It's really hard to tell. But whatever it is, it looks cool. I like the lighting. Paladin progressed into the Lot Zero phase, so we already know Paladin's coming. That's nothing new. This right here, I'm excited about. Thank the Lord. Hull B. There was such a huge gap between the Hull A and the Hull C for the longest time. Now they're finally filling it. So it is well into the white box phase. The majority of the interior was implemented to the required level, while adjustments are currently being made to the exterior mesh to meet the gate requirements. So they're still adjusting the exterior to suffice for with the inside to make it correct. This thing is cool. I've never, I wasn't too keen on a MISC ship, but possibly, I love the Ironclad. I really do. I haven't had it yet, but I love the way it's styled. It's super cool. A lot of how it performs is gonna determine if I keep it or not, because I thought about upgrading it to the Perseus, so that I have a battleship type ship that's not too big, because I don't really, my org is not big enough for me to justify buying a Polaris or an Idris. It's just not a thing. So but the Perseus isn't that big, so I can run it off of 4 people pretty easily. So I thought about it, but I don't know. The Ironclad I can run by myself. I don't, it doesn't need, a full crew. And it's an armored transport, basically what it is, armored cargo ship, versus the Hull B, where it's exposed. However, if I decide to upgrade to the Perseus, I'm still going to need something that's a dedicated hauler. I have to check to see what the stats are. You know what? Let me see what the stats are for the Hull B as far as cargo is concerned. Because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it might change. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So let's just have a gander at least what it says. There it is. So cargo capacity of the Hull B is 384. Ew. Alright, well now I stand corrected, because if it's only 384, think about that, how that jump, that's a big jump from, let's see, Hull C. The Hull C has 4,808 SU cargo space. And the Hull A has 64. With the B being in the 3s and the C being in the 4,000, I don't know. That's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I won't get the Hull B, because I thought it was going to be at least in the first thousands, which would be comparable to what the Ironclad has, but it's not. So maybe I'll just keep the Ironclad. Maybe I'll just buy the Perseus outright. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So back to it. But I'm glad they made it, because they needed something in between. Following last month's work, the Drake Ironclad and Ironclad Assault, plus the update command module, are approaching their combined white box gate review. I really had hoped this would be further along. Again, because I do have it, and I have a distinct problem with CIG taking so long on things that they could have had out sooner. But again, I'm not a developer. I don't build these ships. It's whatever. But I am highly anticipating this. I'm probably going to upgrade it to the Assault at least, because the Assault has a component fabricator, and it can fix small things like ground vehicles, or CIG said that as long as it fits in the bay where it is, it'll fix whatever it is. So if it's a small ship or something like that, it's supposed to fix it. So I might upgrade to it. I lose I think 400 SCU because it's still like 1100 versus like 1500. So I might upgrade to the assault, and the front door that drops is bigger for tanks and things to get out of it. But we'll see. I have to see them really. Once they come out, I'll know what I would like to do, because you could use it as a small transport for when you're out doing mining or anything. You know, my first thing I'm going to test out and see, obviously, because no matter what, for either the assault or for the regular ones, the top opens up. So if it opens up and it's small enough, I mean, it's big enough to where the golem will fit in there, that's a mining ship. You just get a bunch of golem containers, and you just go, you leave your ship on the drift out there, you'll go mine, bring it back, drop it, switch the containers out, go mine, come back, drop, switch the container out for the next one, go mine, because you can get more containers. And then next you know, you have a pretty good amount in one go, because you, as we all know, the golem, it only has, I think it's like 32 SU of mining space, so it fills up quick. No, I think it's like 13. I'm so sorry. I think it's small. So this would be a good way to not have to keep going back and forth, and you can just sit out there for a while until you fill all these containers up. So that's just, you know, my opinion, that it would be good for more than just doing cargo, because a lot of these ships you kind of want to have a little bit more than one purpose of it, and see what you can do. So we'll have to see when it comes out, but I wish it would have came out sooner. 4 unannounced vehicles also continue development throughout September. The first is approaching the Lot Zero review, while the second progressed through the Lot Zero gate and is now in its final stage. So whatever that second one is, so I'm pretty sure these are going to be out real soon, probably for Invictus, but maybe they might come out for CitizenCon, maybe, I don't know, probably Invictus, because CitizenCon is like next week. So the third, a variant of a popular recent release, my opinion is that this is the Zeus. I think this is the Zeus Marquis, in my opinion, or the Zeus ST, because it's a very popular release. There would be no point on releasing the Spirit ES, because, you know, that transport game loop doesn't exist right now, so there's no point on that. The Marquis is the only thing out of the variants that have been released already before. Marquis and ST are the only ones that are left. And the ST, they said the gameplay is not there, so I'm thinking it's the Marquis. And the only other ships that were released, I mean, I cannot see there being another Prowler, which would be, I don't know. I would not think that there would be another Prowler there. And then, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what it could be. I can't be no Firebird. There shouldn't be another Wolf, because, I mean, it's cool, but it's not that cool to have a variant. So I'm sticking with Marquis. That's my guess. We'll see. So now we have this picture. Obviously, this is clearly Drake. Clearly. My speculation is that this is that funky Drake ship that was in CitizenCon that had from last year. It looks like it's the little module that the Caterpillar has, that the Ironclad will have with wings. So that's what my guess is that, because again, it could be, I would want it to be the Ironclad, but I doubt it will be. So I'm pretty sure it's that one. North American Tees began the month finalizing fixes for the RSI Apollo ships ahead of their release. Various optimizations were also made following player use in the PTU. Lot 0 for the RSI Perseus was also passed early on in the month, with the team moving into the final touches and downstream teams beginning to close out the ship. So again, the Perseus is probably going to be at Invictus. That's you know, or whatever. I get Invictus and IE like confused, but the one that said November, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll see the Perseus there. And then the white box phase officially kicked off for the Drake Kraken. This right here for my org mate Lisa, who's actually considering buying this thing, which would be pretty dope. And again, this is where the other mechanics come in. That's important. Logging out on your friend's ship, but when your friends respawn the ship and then you log in after them, you should appear back on the ship. That is cool. And even like, I know that you're talking about now giving you, I think, 5 different areas to spawn at. And if you can make, you know, a player's ship one of those places, if it's available, and when the loading screen starts, you just click that and then you just respawn there, which would be super cool, because then now you wouldn't have to keep worrying about having to re-meet back up to do anything. You're just all in the same place. I can't wait for this to come out. Holla at you, Lisa. This is for you. And then let's see. Last month's pre-production phase led to numerous improvements and adjustments to navigation flow and interactions throughout the ship. 2 unannounced vehicles progressed to. One moved through the gray box phase, while the second one entered the white box phase. So they got a lot of stuff. 2 unannounced ships here that are going through gray and white. We have 4 unannounced here. So we should be getting a pretty good amount of ships. So we'll have to see. And then we have community stuff. Not that I'm not going to say I don't care, but it's not that serious. Economy team began the month exploring how to make the player's impact on freelancing commodity trading more impactful and longer lasting. You know, commodities and trading needs to be something. And I know UEX does a lot of that to predict or to get the data and see what places are needing updates or whatever. But really, that should be in Star Citizen. You should be able to go to that that room where you sell the commodities, and it should have a screen and prices for everything. And you should be able to see all that there in real time. That would be ideal. So they need to work on that more, and especially when it comes to when you do use commodities and do your own selling, making it so there is no issue with selling stuff, because that's a problem when people are wasting money and then they can't get the cargo off and it goes to waste. So, you know, alpha. But that's pretty much it for the update. So, what are you guys waiting for? You know, are you guys ready for the 4 unannounced ships that seem to be actually? I think we're going to appear at the show in November. How do you guys feel about the Perseus? Are you guys ready for that to come out? Are you going to be murder hobos out there with the Perseus gunning down or hunting down Idrises or whatnot? Are you guys thinking that maybe that the one ship that had the Drake of the interior is that new weird Drake with the little wings, and it's the command module with the little wings? What do y'all think? Y'all think it's gonna be that? Let me know down in the comments, you guys. As always, I appreciate you. And of course, it's your boy Raptor Spirit. You guys stay safe out there, and I will see you in the verse.